Yeah.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to the session today on the EP code. The session today is being sponsored by InsureSure. InsureSure is an insurance broking company licensed by the insurance regulator IRDAI, and it started by insurance professionals with combined experience of over 100 years in the industry. We really are grateful to InsureSure for sponsoring our events. And the session today is being conducted by Mr. Dipan Vaishnav. Dipan is an ex-colleague and a friend. He is got more than 29 years experience in the corporate sector, working with Fortune 500 companies like Tata Motors, Max New York Life, Future Generali, and Eli Lilly. He started out as a coach a couple of years back, and he's successfully coached 400 people, many of whom are senior level executives. And his clients include companies like Tata Motors, Hindustan Coca-Cola, Honda, Suzuki, Kotak Life, etc. He is certified by XLRI to design, develop, and deploy assessment centers. We are very happy to have you, Dipan sir, in our session today, talking about the EP code, the executive presence code, becoming aware of the X factor that may be holding us back. And the session today is happening on, we didn't plan it this way, but it's happening on the day, which is the 20th anniversary of the September 11 attack. And I get goosebumps as I speak this. I saw this event live as it was happening on TV, live on TV as it was happening in USA. And this had a devastating effect on my career as well, because at that point of time, I was working with an insurance brokerage firm. And as some of you might be aware, that the stock markets all over the world tanked, and my brokerage firm decided to close the office in Pune that I had just opened for them. So I lost my job, and by a turn of events, I would say that I got the best break, the best job in my career with a company called Tata AIG Life Insurance. This was a joint venture of two best companies in the world, AIG, which is AAA rated corporate, and Tata Group, we all know. So I hope, that the event today is also as dramatic for you. What you learn, what Dipan sir is going to share with you. I hope, I have an intention that it transforms your life the same way this event, the way it transformed my own career. It's a very significant session that Dipan sir has put together for you. So I hope you get the maximum value from this session today. But before we begin, I would like to request you to observe silence for 1 minute and pray for the peace of all those souls who lost their lives in this event, and for the peace and well-being of those who lost their loved ones in this event. So I'll request you to please close your eyes and observe 1 minute silence for the people who lost their lives and for the people who lost their loved ones. Thank you, friends. Before we move forward, I'll like to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018 after working in the corporate sector for over 25 years in senior management roles. Uh, the mission of Mindful Living is to help 1 million working professionals lead healthier, happier, and wealthier lives. And in the last 3 years, we have conducted more than 250 sessions on application of mindfulness to the challenges that we face at our workplace. Our client includes some of the leading organizations in India, which are Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, Hero Group, Kotak Life, SDFC Life, IBM, Swiggy, EXL, Schneider India, Signify India, more than 50 organizations that we work actively with. So that's the work that we are doing. With that brief introduction, I'll now like to invite Dipan sir to please take the session over and guide us on what is the EP code, and how it can help us, make progress in our career. Over to you, Dipan sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And before I start talking, I'll just get my slides up.
Sure. And while Dipan sir is setting up his slides, I would like to welcome all of you for taking time and joining us on Saturday afternoon and for being with us.
So, Ashish sir, can you see the slide?
Yes,
or
we can.
Can you see something else on the screen also?
No slide, is the slide.
Only the slide, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Great. So thank you so much, Ashish sir, first of all, for getting me here. It feels really good to meet all of you. I have been a part of this group, this community, and today especially happy to be, speaking and sitting on the hot seat. Yeah, it really feels hot. I have the AC right next to me, and we're going to have some good time. Hello and welcome everyone to this fantastic program, this Power Pack program I call the EP Code, right? And as Ashish sir said, I really, really want to appreciate all of you and so many of you for being here today. It is a Saturday, a weekend, and you could have been anywhere else. Okay, and you are here because you have continued to find value in this community. And I promise you that I shall live up to your expectations and we will find more value today too. Right? So who am I really? Let me talk a little bit about myself before we get into talking about you. I'm a coach. But more importantly, I'm a practitioner coach. I practiced and I achieved success, and time and again, always getting back to newer heights, even if I'm thrown off. Yes, 3 times. 3 times I've lost my job, and no, there was no excuse of the pandemic every time, right? And each time I have bounced back, and each time I came back stronger and I scaled new heights. How did I do that? I did that because I had mastered a formula. With 29 years of, something is wrong with my slides, not showing. Okay, I'm sorry about this technical glitch. So
it's going good, Dipan sir.
Going good?
You can see the green arrows pointing upwards.
Yeah, so that was to come a little while ago. So thank you. Thank you. All right. So with 29 years of work experience behind me and having impacted 100,000 people, I can tell you that I have mastered this formula. And what is this formula about? It is about an awareness you need to bring about in terms of who you are, what you do, and how you do what you do. And because we all are here today, I'm going to give you this code right now. By the way, you can call me, Didi. Now, when I say Didi, I don't mean Doordarshan. Doordarshi I am. But what I mean is I simplify things, I decode things for you. So you can call me Decoder Dipan. Does it show? Yeah, now it shows. Sorry about this little bit of this thing. Decoder Dipan. That's how I call myself. And in life, I play different roles. Let me tell you about the different roles that I play. Of course, I'm a coach. Okay. I'm a photographer. I have a small family and I have a spiritual practice. So these 4 things, these 4 aspects, these 4 sides of me makes me who I am and makes me me. That's about me. Let's talk about you. To start with, let me ask you a few questions. Okay, the first question: how focused are you right now? I'm sure you're sitting somewhere. Many of you have switched off your cameras. There's a lot happening around you. I want to know how focused you are right now on what is happening here. On a scale of 1 to 7, mention it in the chat and I'm going to read this. Where 1 is, I don't know what's happening. 7 is, I'm completely immersed, completely focused. I'm picking up each and every word that you're saying, and I could even spot the glitches in the way you're doing your presentation. So there's 1 to 7. How focused are you? And please be candid. Thank you, Ashita. Oh, Badal is 11. Thank you so much. Pranav is 5. Amrita is 7%. Tanuja is 4. Jagdish by 7 plus. Okay, thank you. That is also awesome. We have 18 people and only so many of you writing there. 18 minus 2 of me, that's 16. Ashmita is 4. Thank you for being candid. Nina is 4. I didn't write anything. Who's using my name? How come my name appeared there? Is someone else using my name, Ashish sir? Oh, there's somebody else using the same name. Okay, well, so thank you. So the next question I have for you, all of you, is this. What is that one change you would like to make right now to be able to increase your focus? If you're 11 or 7, great, you're fine. But those who are low on that, if you want to increase your focus, in what is that one change you would want to make in your environment? And you need not write it in the chat, but think about it. And would you like to do it right now? So please do it. Thank you. Some friend of mine is using my name, so I appreciate whoever you are. But then it confuses me. Feels like Karthik calling Karthik. Okay, thank you for that. The third question, and that is, how committed are you right now on a scale of 7? Where 1 is, I don't care, I'm here because of whatever reasons. 7 because I'm here because of, again, whatever reasons. It's a topic, it's Ashish, it's me. Something got you here, and you're fully committed to the next 50 minutes that we are going to be spending together. On a scale of 7, please put it in the chat. Okay, so all of you are 7. Thank you so much. That gives me a lot of confidence. Brilliant. Now, so with that, thank you so much for that commitment, and I make sure we make the most of this. So if you are a mid-level or a senior working professional, or for that matter, anything that you're doing in life, there is something beyond the hard skills you have discovered, and something more than the performance that gets people to rise in the organization, in the jobs, or whatever else that you're doing. I'm sure we all have had our what does she have that I don't moment. Like Balag uski kameez meri kameez se safed kaisi. You have seen a colleague who you thought was just as good as you are, had similar or sometimes lesser achievement, and yet got the promotion that you did not. Or you have come across people who you thought were more deserving, and yet someone else got that promotion, a better job, a fatter pay, something better than what you had and you deserved and you desired. What is that X factor? That's something that takes people up that corporate ladder. Tom Cruise has it, so does Amitabh Bachchan. I'm sorry. Tom Cruise has it, so does Amitabh Bachchan. You want to go watch the movies. Roger Federer has it, Virat Kohli has it, MS Dhoni. You want to go watch them play. listen to them. You want to, make the most of meeting and interacting with them. Your favorite boss or leader has it. Your favorite boss or leader has it. I'm sorry, is my screen flickering a little, Ashish sir? Because in my screen it is.
It's good. We are able to hear and see you clearly.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Your key customers have it, all of them have it. And when you look around, you find so many people, you see having it. That's something that it is different. That it is what I call, on what we all know, is executive presence. Or when you put it simply, it is just presence. And no man or woman ever attains a top job, lands an extraordinary deal, or develops a significant following without this heady combination of confidence, poise, and authenticity that convinces the rest of us that we are in the presence of someone who is the real deal. It is a combination of qualities that communicate, or almost shout, that they are in charge or they deserve to be. Often people ask whether executive presence is a measure of performance alone, whether indeed you hit the numbers, attain the right things, or actually have a transformative idea. Rather, it is, I would say it is, I'm sorry, is this confusion here? Okay. Rather, this executive presence is about a measure of image. It is performance plus. It is more than simply performance. Okay. And we are going to explore today what is it that makes or breaks an executive presence, and how is that we're going to help. Our disclaimer here, today I'm going to only give you a little bit of an overview. I have designed a detailed program which I'm going to talk to you towards the end of this event. So for now, I'm going to talk to you an overview, and I'll try and give as much information as possible within the time that we have. Okay. So this executive presence is what I call EP code. And if you are able to master this, the technique or the tools that I'm going to offer and present to you, what you will achieve is you will be able to crack this EP code. And once you crack the EP code, you are a master of whatever you want, you desire. Performance, of course, all of us are here to do that. And this EP code, I want to call it as the PI, the P, I, and E. And soon I'm going to talk to you about what this PI is all about. Before that, let me tell you a little bit about how I made this pie. Okay, the pie that I'm going to offer you to eat. Well, it goes back 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I've had some experiences and I've met different kinds of people. And that's when I started thinking. And over these last 15 years, I've made a lot of research, studied a lot about this. There's a lot written about executive presence. I met a lot of people. I spoke to them. I did a lot of, on interactions with different kinds of people at different levels within organizations, at corporates, entrepreneurs, people from other professions in show business and different kinds. And then after all that research, I've put together, what I call the pie. And I'm going to soon talk about what this pie is all about. So this pie, the P of the pie is performance. Okay. The E is the exposure, and the I is what I call image. Okay. Now, performance. Let's talk about performance a little bit. Performance is about, if you're in a corporate job, or it is about something that you're supposed to do, something that you are meant to do, you're accountable for, you're expected to do. That is what performance is all about. If you're an entrepreneur, your performance is a direct measure of how you are going to achieve your business results and what you're going to achieve. It is about what you do and how well you do that, right? To help you understand performance a little better, a technique or an attitude that I want you all to take is about what I call KRA. Now, KRA, if you have ever worked or if you're still working, you have different, you've called key result data, whatever you call it. But I want to call it something else. I want to call it क्यों रखे आपको. क्यों रखे आपको. If you are able to get this attitude about क्यों रखे आपको, why should they hire me? If you're more familiar with English, then why hire you? If you answer this question, that gives you a direct insight into what performance really means. You may believe, you may feel, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things that is expected to me. Answer this question. Are you justifying why they've hired you? Are you justifying why you are in this role, in this job? If yes, you're doing well. If you have, your answer is maybe, even if it's 90%, you still have to walk that 10% to be able to achieve what is called exemplary performance, the way your stakeholders view it. Okay. So performance is about KRA or Y. Exposure. Let me tell you a little bit about exposure. Exposure is about what kind of roles you've done, what kind of jobs you continue to do. If you are in a corporate, in working, going up your ladder, what are the different roles that you did? How well you have accomplished? What value did you add to the jobs that you did, to other people, to the stakeholders? What value did you add yourself to yourself? And there are multiple, different. You can take an example of somebody who has just gone vertically up, for example, in sales or manufacturing. He's done only one, versus another who has gone, diagonally and has experienced different kinds of roles in a company. It is obvious that the person who is more capable to take up the top job later on is the one who has experienced, different roles. And so is the case, when you are being considered for, or if you are pitching for the next job, the top job, do you have the right kind of exposure? Different kinds? Do you see business from a different perspective? Do you understand the other person's point of view? Do you understand where the shoe pinches to somebody else? That is what exposure is all about. Okay. And I'm going to give you an acronym for that too. WED, W-E-D. Now you can look at it different ways. Wide exposure to different roles, different roles across the organization. Or I'm saying, are you wedded to just one role? If you are, then you will stay there. But to grow, you don't need to be wedded to just one role. Okay, it has nothing to do with everything else in life. It's only about jobs and, so I'm nowhere even saying, don't get wedded to one situation, one person. That's not my meaning. In case somebody is getting, and if you feel like laughing, you can show your cameras and laugh. I'm fine with that. Okay. So yeah, as I said, wide exposure to diversity. So thank you, Ashish sir, for laughing at my joke. Sometimes, I have this problem. I have to raise my hand. Hello, I cracked a joke. Please laugh. So that happens with me. I'm far from being a stand-up comedian. All right. So the next, thing that I want to talk about is how much this contribute. Now, when I'm throwing these numbers and I'm saying that 60% is a contribution of performance and 20% is that of exposure, I don't want you to take it literally. No research shows that across the board, across organizations, across whatever roles, it'll be 60 and 20. Take it metaphorically. What I'm saying is a large portion of contribution, large contribution, the bedrock of whatever you do will be your performance, right? And the smaller percentage will be exposure, but it is important, it is critical, and it has a weightage which is extremely important. The next is, you can call it by different names, but I call it image. Now, what image is and what image is not, okay? What image is not is about pleasing the boss. It is not about making the boss happy. It is not about perception management. I behave one in front of some people and I behave something else in front of, away from them. Image is about what makes you you. Image is about who is that, who is that person really? Are you being your part? Are you behaving like the role that you are? And are you presenting yourself as if you are ready for the next role that you aspire for? That image, the way your stakeholders see you, that is image. The way they perceive you, that is image. And so it may sound a little esoteric, it may sound a little confusing, but I have simplified it for you, because then there can be again another acronym I'm going to give you, which is LEAPS. LEAPS. So what is LEAPS? Okay, LEAPS. L stands for your language and congruent communication, right? Are you using the right language? Now, surely it is about the language you speak, right? It has to be relevant and in line with the culture of your organization. If the organization, and it's required that you speak English, you better speak English. If you're okay with speaking another language in that environment, then that's fine. But it has to be relevant. It has to be that specific language, and more importantly, your communication has to be congruent. Congruence is when what you say, the way you behave, and the way you come across is consistent. That is what I mean by congruence in communication. Do you present yourself well? E is about, as a leader, are you, or as a stakeholder, are you engaged and are you empathetic? When I say engaged, here engaged is about how well do you connect to the people, your team members, other stakeholders, and everything else that is happening in the company or in your environment. And if it is empathetic, it is about, it is not sympathy. Obviously, I'm sure you understand what is empathy. It is about feeling how the other person feels, knowing where the shoe pinches them. Okay. A is about being authentic and genuine intent. It is about being you, your you-ness. That is critical. Are you authentic, or you behave something and you behave, in absence you behave something else? Ask yourself, the way you present yourself in front of stakeholders inside the office, is your behavior consistent outside in the elevator or at the nearby tea stall or any other place or any other meeting or anywhere else? If it is consistent, then that's how you are. Okay. So good or bad is another thing, but its relevance is important. But you need to be authentic. You need to be genuine in your intent. When you say that I'm going to help you, you mean you're going to help someone. Okay. A physical appearance is, now physical appearance is surely about grooming. Okay, for sure it is about how you come across, how you perceive, because that is the first thing somebody sees about you. Okay. First impressions may not be the last impression, but it surely lasts. It lasts a long time. So it is about grooming, and what affects grooming is how you present yourself, how you dress up and all. But it is much more than that. It is about your health. It is about your mental health. It is about your physical health. It is about the kind of nutrition, because everything is correlated and appears in your confidence, your voice, the way you come across, and the way you appear. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a rock star or you need to be Tom Cruise or an Amitabh Bachchan presenting yourself. What I'm saying is, the moment you appear, pleasing to other people, it adds to your confidence. And when it adds to your confidence, you kind of come across as somebody who is in complete control of what you're doing, and therefore likely in control of what you are going to achieve here on, and that adds value to your persona or to your image. And S is about self-confidence. Now, self-confidence is, different people call it differently. I came across a book by Neil Pasricha, and he describes self-confidence very effectively by using a 2x2 matrix. And I'm going to share with you just that. If you look at the vertical axis, and if you plot, opinion of others from low to high, and if you look at the horizontal axis and opinion of self from low to high, okay, when you start plotting, you come across 4 categories of people. People who have a very high opinion of themselves, but not a high opinion of others, are people who are arrogant. Arrogant people, generally, you don't call them confident. They are arrogant. There's a different word. It has a different connotation, different meaning, right? And in any kind of a setup, you don't like to deal with people who are arrogant. You would love to deal with people who are confident. Of course, in a detailed program, I can get into much more detail. People who have a high opinion of others and a low opinion of self are the people who are insecure. Sure, if you are that compassionate, you want to help those people, right? But these are the people who you don't want to, you'll think a couple of times before you want to deal with them or you want to get into any transaction with them, because they're insecure about themselves. You're not sure how it's going to be dealing with them in the longer term. And of course, the cynical are, cynical. Basically, they have low opinion of themselves and they have low opinion of others. The real confident people are those who have a high opinion of themselves and a high opinion of others. In some other parlance, you may call it, I'm okay, you're okay. But I'm saying I'm confident. And I know who I am, and I have hold you in high regard too. I have a high opinion of you and everybody else too. And that's the kind of people, when you deal with them, you can get into a win-win kind of a agreement. And that's the kind of people you want to deal with in a longer term. And that is what confidence is all about. Okay. You need to, understand, you need to, this requires a little bit of an introspection. This requires a little bit of, uh, you know, understanding about yourself, and maybe even seek feedback from people whom you trust, and get into that. There can be different ways and tools and techniques, which we can talk later. But all in all, I can say above all of this, what matters is that your you-ness is the most attractive thing about you. Your you-ness, mind you, okay? And be unique. That is going to be critical. If you are able to put all of this together, what you will achieve is nothing but achieving your cracking your EP code. That is the EP code. EP code is about your the pie chart. Performance is about your key result areas. क्यों रखे आपको? WHY is why hire you. Exposure is about not being wedded to one role, wider exposure to diverse roles. And image is about leaps, the various things that we just spoke about. And that is, if you master these things, if you understand these three things, you would have cracked the EP code. Okay. However, this is not all. Of course, there can be much more detail in terms of how you can do that. But what is more important is that when you are looking at this entire chart, this entire code, as I would like to call it, it has to be in the context of the environment or the organization that you are employed or working with, right? What is image in one environment, which is good, cannot be acceptable in some other environment. What is expected by way of a dress code in a certain environment, certain organization, it can be different in different. I remember when I was working with the insurance industry, and Ashish sir, you would also recall, either Talik people would all wear suits, Tata AG people would all wear suits. In Max New York Live, we would wear suits in important meetings, otherwise at least a formal dress including tie. Moment I went to an engineering larger organization like Tata Motors, but suits and all were only for very, very specific occasions. Otherwise, just a formal shirt and trousers for men, gentlemen, was just fine. So even a simple thing like the way you dress up, the way you present yourself would be different and different. The way you speak, the kind of language you speak is different. So you need to be cognizant of, you need to be mindful and fully aware of what kind of an environment you are dealing with. The answer to क्यों रखें आपको, okay, is also KRA is also different in different contexts. So it's different for different situations, different organizations. The question is, if this is the code, if this is what you do and how you go about, where do you begin? Where do you start? Right? So I'm going to give you three important starting points to this. How do you start addressing? This is a good concept, good theory, and I'm going to invite you all for the full session, of course, which will be paid. So I'm going to talk about it towards the end. But where do you start? I'm going to give you three, ways to start. The first thing is introspect. Do you know yourself enough? It's good to hear be you, but who is that you? Where do you need, what is your strength? Is P your strength? Is I your strength? Is E your strength? So strengthen your strength. First thing, know your strength and strengthen it. To take a cricketing example, you can't expect Jasprit Bumrah to score, high runs all the time, but you can expect him to bowl well, restrict the batsman and score and get wickets. Similarly, when it comes to Virat or a Rahul or a Rohit, you would expect them to score runs and not take wickets. So whatever is your strength, strengthen it. And you can get into much more specifics. The second thing is, what is your weak spot? Like I remember some years ago, my own experience I can talk about, and I'm going to tell you briefly. My weakness was I. Performance I was good at. E I had several. I worked for a company at the time, And there was a situation where my boss left the job. Okay. And when my boss left the job, there were a few of us, and let's talk about myself. I aspired for that top job, that position, which was the head of the department. And in the industry which I worked at that time, that is a big thing. That was a big thing anyway. So I thought I was ready because I had the performance for myself. I was working for several years there, and each year I've got good performance, and it was acknowledged by way of my ratings and my increments. I had the right exposure because I did different roles. I worked with different bosses, different stakeholders in different geographies, and I thought, I have it. I had the support of my team who would say, the best compliment I received at that time from one of my team members is he or she says, my boss is better than your boss, and so all of them would say, you're the best boss and all of that at that point in time. But when it came to that final moment after going through the internal job posting interviews and all, the big boss, my boss's boss, comes and tells me, you know what, you're good, and all these things that I just said, he told me to. But we think you're not ready yet. What is it, ready yet? So we're going to give you some more time. We're going to groom you, and then, we will see if you're ready then. What I was lacking was that eye. So whatever I did, whether good or right, I'm not getting into that as a response to what my boss told me. But what is important learning here is what I was lacking was that eye. He did not see me as ready. I thought I was ready, but he and they did not see that I was ready yet. Okay. So I did some introspection, and I would encourage all of you to do that before you start. Understand the culture or the environment that you are going to be practicing all this in. So what does your culture? Is it high on performance? It is high on image? It is high on certain languages? Is it about different roles? Does your company, how much weightage do the organization or whatever else you're doing is there on different kinds of roles, exposure? So think about, understand that culture. If you are an entrepreneur, what is the culture you are creating? So like it or not, whether we do it consciously or not, we are creating a culture, because culture is defined by behaviors. Now, some people will say, this is our behavior. That is fine. All that is written, all these our values is written on the walls. But how do you behave? How does the company, what is the limit to which you tolerate certain behaviors? What is the kind of encourage? How do you encourage certain behaviors? That is what forms the culture. So understand that, introspect that, think about that, and then make a plan. And the third point is make an elevator pitch. Now, what is an elevator pitch? Elevator pitch is a 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, can you say who you are, what you do, and how you do? So take an example of you as an employee. Okay, if you are employed and you are vying for the next project that you want to lead, or you are looking for something critical, or you want to make an impression to the right people. And it so happens one morning you are in the elevator and the elevator door closes. There's two of you and the CEO in that elevator. 20 seconds to reach the 20th floor. What do you talk? What do you do? Obviously, you want to do something that will ensure that you are remembered, you make an impression, and you can continue that conversation further at the next available opportunity with that stakeholder there. If you are an entrepreneur, you are not able to break ice with one customer or some customer, okay, and suddenly you bump into him at a common place or an elevator or some place, and it's just those few minutes. What would you say there? What is that elevator pitch? Think about it. It requires practice. It is not easy. Okay, it requires practice. You need to think. Only after the first two you can do this. Write it, and and practice it. So that gives you another acronym. ICE. ICE. So I've given you a bunch of acronyms, and that becomes a way to crack your EP code. The EP code, in summary, therefore, is about your performance, which is KRA and WHY, exposure, which is WED, and LEAPS, which constitutes, and together you can form your image. So in nutshell, Performance is about results and adding value. Okay. Exposure is about diverse roles and experiences. And image is about being your part. Right. So if you are able to do that, that breaks your EP code. Now, let me take a pause here before I talk about what's next that I want to, what is it that I happens when I go live and all that. Is there any questions? Let me take a pause. A few, of course, we will have a detailed Q&A, but for now, if there is anything I can address right now. About the EP code, about the PIE, about any of these.
While we are waiting for others to come up with their questions, Dipan sir,
Yes,
there is
sir.
one thing I would like you to elaborate on. You made a very important point, which kind of resonates with me, is on congruent communication.
Mhm.
So could you elaborate a little bit more on that? I know we don't have too much time, but briefly, if you can talk about that.
Sure. Ashish, congruence is about, see there I'm sure you come across people where they would say something, and you and I both know common people, in both Talik and other places that you worked and I worked. We don't take them on their face value. They're saying something, but पीठ पीछे ऐसा होगा नहीं उसका. Okay, that is lack of congruence. This you've known about those kind of people with experience, because what he is saying and what he's actually doing are two different things. Congruence is when consistently and even in that moment, what you think, what you say, and how you behave, they're all in sync. That is congruent. It has a direct impact on whether you come across as being authentic. So that way they are interconnected. Does it help, sir?
Surely it does, and I think it's very important because, and that's where I think introspection also plays a part. Whether
Absolutely.
Once I introspect,
And also feedback from trusted people, people whom you trust. Because there are many things that I may believe that I behave, but how do people see it? That's more important.
sure. Looks like we don't have any questions for now, Deepan sir. So maybe we can continue.
Okay.
Take it
For
to
now,
you.
then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about what I'm going to do. Of late, we hear multitasking is no
Jagdish,
more in thing.
sir.
Jagdish Bhai says, we are here multitasking is no more in thing. Your comments. Yes, I agree. And I believe that there is no human being who can multitask. Okay. Because let us break it down to the minute moment. Multitasking, when I say multitasking, what am I saying? I'm doing two things simultaneously. Now, if you noticed, right before earlier in this presentation, there was some technical glitch because I was trying to do two things together. Okay, it can't happen because in that moment, your brain can look at only one function, one thing. So even for a microsecond or half a second or for a second, you are taking your concentration off something and into something. So when you're trying to do multitasking, what happens is your concentration is switching or jumping from one to another quickly. When I say jumping from one to another quickly, your brain is not focused on simultaneous things, and therefore multitasking is not possible. The classic example how multitasking is dangerous is texting and driving. It's the same problem everywhere else. It's just that the consequences are not that disastrous if you're not driving, but so multitasking is not the in thing. It doesn't work, is my view. Because I learned my lessons, Jagdish Bhai. Why this change in perception over the last decade? Because I learned my lessons the hard way. As I said in the beginning, I failed and I have succeeded, but I failed to the extent of losing my job thrice. But each time, because I learned my lesson, I came back stronger. And now I know what is to be done and I know what is not to be done. Ramba says there's a direct connection to chronic multitasking and health hazards. Yes, Ramba, thank you so much. And which is where when I was referring to the physical aspects, it has got so much to do with health and other things in which of course, Ramba, you're an expert in that field.
Thanks for sharing that, Deepan sir. We have Amrita who has raised her hand. Amrita, would you like to unmute yourself?
Amrita, yes. Thank you, Amrita, for that awesome explanation.
Thank you so much, Deepan sir. It was a really, really insightful session. Of course, I got a lot of pointers from how I would love to improve. I would like to improve myself. But even then, like we are talking about an executive presence, and if I have to walk into somebody's office and create an impression, you told me what are the things that I have to work on. Like it's a package. But what is it? One thing that you feel a person needs to start working on if he needs to develop his executive presence? Like, of course you gave us the pointers like where to start, introspection, and being congruent. All those things are there, but what is it one quality that you would suggest people must start working on? The starting point for
Yeah,
everybody may be different, but that's one quality, because I think the first 30, like 10 seconds is when the first person will just get the what do you say,
sure,
whiff of who I am.
sure. Thank you for asking that, Amrita. So you're right in saying that it will be different for different people, but to add to that, it will be different for different contexts. Okay. Generally speaking, broadly speaking, again, there is no rule, but broadly speaking, in most cases, if it is an in-person, conversation, what is the first thing that people take notice of is how you come across, how you appear, right? Your appearance. Now, appearance, there's a lot that goes behind that. It is about how you dress up, how you groom, how you walk, how you carry yourself, and that is a function of how healthy you are, how what kind of a mental state you are, what kind of a physical condition you are, and everything put together. So it's not just that if I wear a suit, I will always come across as a rock star, or a super CEO. No, it is all about how I carry myself. If it is a video based conversation, then it's a combination of how I come across on the video and how I speak. If it's an audio, the first 10 seconds is how I speak and what I speak. So I need to understand the context. I need to understand the medium of conversation, whether it is face to face or otherwise, and then pick up that one thing which will have the impact in the first 10 seconds. Does it help, Amrita?
Thank you so much, Dipan sir. That's really insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we get into it, here's something that I want to thank you, Jagdish, right? Talk about EP code. You crack the EP code, unleash your true potential, because I've launched this program. Of course, I've done this over the last 15 years in different avatars, in corporates, over the last few years in the full-fledged avatar as you're seeing it right now. And I'm kind of launching this program. When I do it in corporates, when I do it outside, I sell this myself for this program for 25,999 rupees. Okay, that's the kind of value. Of course, in some larger organization, I've even gone to 40, 50, 60,000 rupees, depending upon the context and how long and how much people want to do it. Because we are here, all of you, Ashish sir is a great friend. We go back 2008, so like 13 years we go back, and I have been a part of this community too for so many months now. So I want to offer this for people. If you join or if you kind of register for it today, and instead of 25,999, I'm going to offer it for 799 only if everybody registers today. And very shortly, I'm going to put up the link on the chat, and then you'll know where to register and how to go about. That's only for all of you today. Okay. What happens is once you join this program at 799, you get the full program. You get a free ebook as part of being a member of the program. You get free templates for exercises. You get special price for the Success Code Cracker course, which is the bigger course that I have designed. Which is a full program for people in the mid management. Where your career you can deal with what makes you your self management and managing people, and it's a detailed program. And you get special privileges for all future events and activities, and all this for just rupees 799 for all of you, exclusively for this group, if you register today. While by the time I kind of go off and Ashish speaks, I will paste the link on the chat for registration. For now, these are my details in case you want to reach out to me. And with that, I'll hand it over back to Ashish sir. For now, I'll stop screen sharing so that Ashish sir, you can do yours.
Thank you, Dipan sir, for such an awesome session. And I'm sure this has resonated with people and at some level, so we'll be happy to hear if you have some comments. Pranav, is there something you would like to ask or
No, nothing to ask. I would love to join this program and explore further.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav Dada.
Anybody, we are open to questions. Anybody would like to share their thoughts, any comments on what resonated with you in the session? We'll be happy to hear from you. Thank you, Neena ji. Really appreciate that.
See, the abbreviations were out of the world. I mean, very simple, but very simple. Never thought of KRA as kyun rakhe aapko or Y as why hire you.
Yeah.
So absolutely great. I mean, fresh perspective received today. And so, thank you, sir, for that.
Thank you, Pranav Dada.
That's.
So while I was listening to that, I have put up the link in case you want to register for the 799 program, and of course, Ashish sir also has all the details too.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Dipan sir, for sharing the link. So once you register, please, confirm on the chat so that we know and we can welcome you formally to the program.
Yes. Thank you, Jagdishbhai, Amrita, Martha, Badal. Thank you for being here and for this great learning. Anybody has any questions? I'll be happy to take them.
And while we are waiting for your questions to come, we are also sharing the, there's one from Jagdish. What is the tentative dates for the program?
Tentative date 17th, which is next Friday, 7 p.m. Thank you, Bharti.
And this will be how many sessions, Dipan sir?
Well, this will happen on a regular basis, but
Okay.
this offer price is valid next Friday.
Okay. Thank you, Viral, for your comments.
Thank you, Viral.
We are also sharing a feedback link. Please share your feedback. It will take less than a minute for you to share your feedback. Your feedback is very important for us, and it gives us ideas on how to improve and what to work on. And once you have filled out the feedback form, please type FT in the chat so that we know you have submitted the feedback form. Feedback done. Thank you, Jagdish. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And while we are waiting for your feedback forms to be filled in, I'd like to share with you about the program that session we are doing next Saturday at 5 p.m., which is Lessons in Love. And we are hosting Pragnya Waklu. She is a Grammy voting member and a winner of the Dada Saheb Phalke Award. And she's going to talk about the stories behind her songs, So we hear the music, but we don't know what went into the music, what thoughts went into making of that music. So that's a very lovely session. There are great songs in her album. So we'll get to hear those songs and we'll get to hear the stories behind that song. So please block your time, 5 p.m. next Saturday for Lessons in Love, stories behind the songs. And if you would like to be a part of the Mindful Living community and get to know about the sessions that we do on regular basis, please click on the WhatsApp community link and you can join us there. And that's where we post the links to our weekly activities. These are sessions that we do every Saturday, and these are complimentary, and there is no agenda other than benefiting the working professionals. It's a community of working professionals. And the idea is to support our community live healthier, happier, and wealthier lives. So that is what the objective is, and that is what we're working towards.
Thank you, Pranav.
Thank you, Pranab. Any questions? Happy to take them. Dipan sir, is there anything else you would like to share, either from your own experience of practicing Pi, or somebody you've coached so many CXOs, so how implementing these learnings have helped them in their career trajectory?
Yeah, there are several examples,
Yes.
I mean, and I'm sure we've all come across this kind of people. Thank you, Bharti. Let me give an example, very specific example of, yeah. So there's this mid-level manager that I was coaching, because I won't tell the name and the company. And, his point was, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. I've done so many different kinds of roles. And I'm great at presentations. I'm great at, whatever. But, there's somebody else who always makes a cut and, always gets a promotion again. So, of course, there was a whole lot of conversation, which led to this diagnosis. But the understanding was very clear. Where he lacked, and not fully, but the critical, he was lacking on the performance side. Okay? You may have everything else. You may say that you have that charisma, but he was always like, between 90 to 100% of performance all the time. That won't, that won't work. Same, different example, I can very easy to understand for all of us is people from sales. And I've come across some people very recently. Exemplary sales performance, superlative performance, always on target, always on the mark. But what happened was, when it came to and I was a part of the assessment and making that, one stakeholder mentioned that what, all this is fine, he's a great sales guy, but at times he needs to behave himself. He doesn't know how to talk to stakeholders. He comes across as a little arrogant. So is he ready for the next job? That one comment, in that room there were 5 others. It led to all of them. Yeah, I agree. Even I have had that one experience. But that one comment, that was the way he behaved, and that had led to his eye getting compromised there. Otherwise, everything was good. But is he really ready for the next job? That was the question, and there it stopped.
I think that's a very good insight, Dipan sir. And I think what happens, the reason we get so focused on performance, which is the bulk, is because that is what the organization is also interested in. But the image part is something which I think the individual needs to own, and the ownership rests with the individual, not with the organization. So that's where personal leadership or individual leadership comes in, and that's where this PI program is so important. The EP program is so important for people, so that they can take individual leadership and manage their careers. Sometimes we tend to think it is the organization responsibility to manage my career, but it is my own responsibility to manage my career.
Absolutely. Our careers is in our hands, nobody else. In the context of the environment, the organization, we need to figure that out.
Yes.
But careers.
Yes. So we are getting comments, questions that whether we will share recording of this session. Dipan sir, I believe it's okay to share the recording of the session with people.
Yes.
What we will request, those who want the session recording of the session, please, you can mention in the chat, or you can join our WhatsApp Mindful Living community. That's where we share the link to the recording of the sessions, and you can get it there. So that's what pretty much what it is like. We are at the end of our scheduled 1 hour. I thank everybody to join our session today and being a part of our journey. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend, and look forward to seeing you next week, 5 p.m. For Lessons in Love, Story Behind the Songs. Thank you, Dipan sir, for taking us through these lovely insights.
Thank you.
I'm sure this will benefit a lot of careers, a lot of people and their careers.
Thank you, sir.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful-
everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.